In this video, we're going to do a client interview with a soccer coach out in Dallas. He started his ad exactly 2 weeks ago, and today we're going to have him share some of his results. Now, make sure you stick around to the end of the video because, as always, I'll have David here share his screen, show you the exact ad we ran for him, all of his Facebook stats, how much he spent on the ads, all the numbers, and behind the scenes. That way, you can see exactly how the process would look like for you. So, David, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and break down exactly how many clients you've been able to sign in the first 2 weeks of running your ad?
Yeah, no, so my name is Coach David Ortiz. I'm a U.S. men's futsal national team player. And then I started my own company 3 years ago. It's called DFO Trainings. It's based out in the DFW area.
Cool, man. In those first couple of weeks of you running your ads, do you remember how many clients you were able to sign?
Yeah, so I signed 19 clients, I believe, in just 2 weeks.
Awesome, man. And before you joined the program, what were you doing like on a monthly basis?
I mean, I was just really doing the typical stuff, you know what I mean? Just coaching, trying to gain clientele, word of mouth and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I started little business cards that helped barely, but nothing like this.
100%, man. And what were you making before you joined, like in terms of like monthly revenue?
It was barely like probably like 1,500, 2,000 max on a good month.
Gotcha. And how much are you making now that you have like these 19 new clients added on?
Obviously way more, right? So I'm doing in between 18 to 22 sessions a week, um, roughly around like $80 a session. So add that
Nice,
up,
man.
it's
And
way
before
more.
joining, I remember you were like, I don't know if this is gonna work. Like, I've never done this, and you were like kind of hesitant on it. Can you explain like to everyone here, like who's watching this, like what were the thoughts you had gone through like when you were on that first call with me?
Yeah, no, obviously it's scary at first. It's hesitant, right? But something in the back of my head was just like, nothing changes if nothing changes, right? So you gotta do something, you gotta risk it, and take that jump, take that leap because it does work, it does help, and obviously thanks to you guys, I'm at where I'm at, and I continue to go.
100%, bro. What were you doing in terms of like getting clients at that time? Like before you joined, like what were some of the strategies you were using?
Beforehand, like I said, it's just word of mouth, right? I'd give the best session that I could and hope that my clients would tell other clients or and tell their teammates and stuff like that.
Hmm.
uh, I was started passing out business cards or leaving them out at like little soccer places and stuff. But obviously it did help a little bit, but it wasn't to the point where with what you guys do.
Yeah, 100%. And like afterwards, once you joined, like what was that experience like for you? Like in the first couple of days of like actually creating your ads and running them and seeing what it looks like on the other side?
Yeah, no, obviously, if you guys would have done this without the structure and stuff like that, kind of left me stranded, wouldn't know how to handle it. You know what I mean? So you guys helped me out, build a game plan, get the scripts down, do all this stuff, and obviously that helped. It was super, super hectic. Like the first 3 to 5 days after the first 2 days, like the first day, it was like, okay, the run ads running, it's whatever. I got a couple follows and stuff like that, but after 2, 3 days, my phone was nonstop buzzing. It was crazy. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
I remember you were like, it's time to cut the ad because I don't know if you can handle these leads alone because like
Yeah.
you were already capped out personally, but you were like doing come like well, can you explain like what your situation was like because it was an interesting situation for you.
Yeah, so obviously, like I remember you mentioning like nobody really in Dallas kind of runs ads this way.
Hmm.
So I was kind of the first, right? So which is a good thing. And the first days it was like smooth or whatever, but I got to a point after 2 weeks where I was like, dude, this is way too many phone calls, way too many sessions. Like I capped out. I had to get another coach to help me out. I was even thinking about someone just to hire just to take my phone away because it was that many. So I had to stop the ads real quick just to organize. Now that I'm organized, now I know what to do, then I can definitely, continue it because I definitely want to continue growing and stuff like that. So
Yeah, 100%. And we'll share your screen in a second, show them like the numbers behind the scenes, but you spent like bare basically like $200 like land 19 clients. But
yeah.
I guess for you, like I know before you joined us, you probably saw one of our ads, but I guess like what really made you want to like pull the trigger and like really commit to like building your business using like the ads?
Yeah, no, I was I mean, obviously I saw one of your ads that hit my phone and it kind of hit me like at the perfect timing because I was like, dude, like I've grown a decent amount this past summer, just grinding it out on my own, but like I hit this like plateau. I was literally thinking around August, September, like what can I do to grow? What can I do to grow? And then that's when your ad popped up. kind of like perfect timing. You know what I mean? So that's
Yeah.
why I kind of just decided to do it. It was kind of like the best coincidence ever.
Yeah, 100%. And there's other, a few other programs out in the space just like this one. I guess like for you, like what really stood out to you about us and like what really made you ultimately like decide to trust us with your business?
One a main thing was that you specifically you were a soccer coach. You started the same way. You had the same struggles as me, so I kind of related really well. So that's kind of what kind of drawn me more towards you guys, because there's other companies that maybe don't do the same as me, but kind of want to do the same thing as you guys.
Hmm.
But one thing about you guys, you have a tennis coach that can relate to other tennis people. You have a soccer coach that relates to people. You know what I mean? You have boxing people that relate to boxing. So that kind of lured me towards you guys, and then we can relate on stuff. And then if I'm struggling on something or whatever, then you know what to do, so I can bounce back on you. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
100%, man. I know like there's probably a lot of people like watching this and they're like facing resistance when it comes to like running ads because A, they don't know how to do it, or B, they like tried it, they spent some money, or they're scared to spend the money. I guess for you, did you have any of those feelings like before you like started turning on your ads?
Yeah, obviously, because I was like, dude, like $15 a day. At the end of the day, it's not much to what you're going to make, right? But it's like, what if it doesn't work, or I'm just
Hmm.
spending money and throwing it away, basically, and stuff like that. So that slight thought did hit the back of my head. But at the end of the day, you can't be doubtful in what you're doing. You just gotta full force, 100%, buy into it, and it'll pay off for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And like in that first couple of days of like you seeing your first couple of leads, how did it feel like knowing like the system actually works? Not like just us promising you it works, but actually seeing it for yourself. How did that feel?
No, yeah, that felt great, obviously, because it's like my investments are actually going towards something, and it's gonna make me grow long term, right? So I'm
Hmm.
spending whatever $15 a day, but if you really look at the numbers, like how we're gonna look at it right now, like I'm making, like it pays off on its own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
100%. And for all the sports coaches like watching this and maybe they're stuck doing like what you used to do, like the old school way of doing things like word of mouth, flyers, referrals. I guess for them, like, why do you think it's important to run their ads and like just really get on the social media wave?
yeah, I mean, obviously times are changing, right? Technology is crazy. Everybody's always on their phone, on a computer, on a tablet, and it's easier to hit people, specific people, to what you need that way instead of just passing out flyers and hoping it gets passed around.
Yeah.
This actually gets passed around, and it actually hits those people that you want to target. So that's the difference.
Yeah. It's like almost like a virtual flyer that you can just force your way into the parents'
Yeah,
faces and kind of like make sure they actually watch it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and actually share your screen?
Yep.
Okay, so let's see. So you had a total of 138 messages, so 138 leads that came in. Your total
Yeah,
reach was about 9,000 people. Your cost per lead was absolutely crazy. I think I told you that on the first couple of days. I'm like, I've never seen like a cost per lead for like $1.77, which basically means for all the viewers, for every $1.77 that David spends on his ads, he gets back one lead. And then in total, you spend 244.80, so $244.80. And then that got back 19 clients. So really, really
yeah,
good numbers, bro. So
yeah,
impressions, 18,000. Click through rates. Let's see what the click through rates was. Click through rate was all the way to the right. Let's see. Oh, 2.5%. Okay, nice. Awesome. I mean, dude, these numbers are solid. Feel free to stop sharing your screen, and I'll just ask you a couple of questions before we jump off. I just want to make sure I respect your time as well. I guess for you,
yeah.
like, what was that experience like having to take the leads on and like take the phone calls? How was that experience like?
Yeah, I mean, again, like it would have been 10 times harder without the base and structure that you guys give me, the scripts and stuff.
Hmm.
But obviously the first phone call, kind of hesitant and stuff, but after like two or three, then you get it down, and then you start wording your stuff to where it makes sense for the parents, you know what I mean? Just kind of to convince them and stuff like that. Um, so obviously every company is different. My company, I try to do things differently, try to, really focus and let parents know that, hey, it's development over anything over here, and that kind of lures them in. And then obviously again, on top of the scripts that you guys give me, it was pretty smooth.
Yeah. And I guess having been on the other side, like, what would you tell someone who's like completely new to running their ads and like the whole social media world?
Dude, do it. I mean, it's helping changing my life. It's helping structure, my future goals and stuff like that. I wouldn't have been at this moment this fast without doing it. And then it got so good to where I had to cut it. I had to stop it and then reorganize myself. You know what I mean? So um, for sure, get it down, do it, and you'll see the results for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And now that your ads are cranking and you're getting tons of clients, like what's next for you? Like what's the long-term vision look like?
Long term, to have like a bunch of little mini DFO locations, and then eventually, have an indoor and a facility to my own, so that way I don't have to, you know, rely on a park or whatever to do my training sessions. Is a lot more professional,
Mhm.
and keep growing from there. Hopefully, hit a bunch of locations around that Dallas, then Texas, then hopefully, the U.S. I have a bunch of DFO locations everywhere.
100%, bro. And I know you hired your first assistant coach recently. I guess for someone
Yeah.
who's like in that phase where like they got their ass cranking, they got 20 clients, they got 30 clients, and now it's like time to really outsource it. How would you go about doing that? Like, what would you tell someone who needs to hire someone to outsource, but not really sure how to do it?
Yeah, so the thing that helped me hire a coach is obviously you got to get someone that's as qualified or qualified as you know what I mean, with a good amount of experience. And then what I did was I hired him, and I didn't just let him go for free, right? I went to the sessions. I gave him a free session on top of that. Like I was like, look, be the player's point of view. This is how I coach, and then we flip it. He takes it. He goes to the session. He structures it. Then I coach him while he's coaching someone else. It builds trust, and then that way the training sessions are as structured as you. So if it's not you, it still looks like you. You know what I mean? It's just the same structure, just a different face. That's what I also explained to the parents. Like, hey, I'm bringing them in. If I'm human, I can't be everywhere, but this is the next best guy. He's it's the same thing. So
Hmm.
kind of build that trust. It took him like a week of experience, 2 weeks of experience, and he came in at the right time because I just started the ads. So it's like he's not starting with one just session a week. He's getting 2 or 3 every single day now. So he caught on pretty fast.
100%. And how important do you think is like hiring the right people into the business? Because you could have been the wrong hire. Like, I guess, like, what steps did you take to like vet him to be make sure that he's actually the right person? And then, like, how did you give off clients? Because, like, some coaches who might be watching this, like, really scared to give away that because they're like,
Yeah.
I'm the one, getting paid, but I'm giving, my client off to somebody else. So, I guess, did you have this feeling of like, I guess, like the insecurity of like giving him away?
Yeah, obviously, it's because I want to give and like have the credit to develop all my players. You know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
this is what I started, right? But again, you're human. You can't handle 50, 60 players in one day. You know what I mean? That's why you gotta structure your stuff and coach the coaches to make sure it's exactly like you. Because at the end of the day, you taught that coach what he knows best. So at the end of the day, it's still you. You know what I mean? So, and if the kids love you and your training sessions, they'll never leave regardless of the coach. And then also, if you can't just like let them be, you obviously go show your face sometimes, check in on them, always message the parents, go see their games on the weekends if you can. You know what I mean? Still try to be involved some type of way for sure.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Well, once again, bro, congrats on all the success. It's been really cool to see you like within the first month just take the system, make it your own and just like blow up out of nowhere cuz like it's not
Yeah.
easy and it's also like for all the people watching this, what David got was like exponential results because he just commits to the action and he just did the work. Like it didn't happen overnight. Again, like they might be watching thinking like, oh, this is going to be exactly my situation. Yes, as long as you have David's work ethic, because for him it wasn't just like running the ad and just sitting back and collecting cash. It was more about the fact that he had to follow up on the leads, jump on the calls, collect, make sure they show up, make sure they're happy, make sure they're a good coach. I guess like one final thing before we jump off for you, how important do you think it was like to be a really good coach like with these ads?
No, obviously, like the good thing about at least me is I had the right mindset beforehand. So I already did my training sessions. I already knew like if you come try my training sessions out, you won't ever go back to someone else. That's the mindset that I had. You know what I mean? I
Hmm.
always try to be the coach that I never had. You know what I mean? So that's my mindset. So obviously with these ads, you really gotta perform because if not, then at the end of the day, you're gonna be wasting your own money because if you're a terrible coach and you're running ads like that, they come try out a session and then they never come back, then what's the point? So you gotta make sure you're confident in what you're doing. You structure the training sessions to their specific needs. You really care about development. It's just not like money mindset type of thing. You gotta really sell
Right.
it in development. You know what I mean for the kid. Make sure you care. That way they come back.
100%, bro. And I guess like for anyone who's on the fence, like right before we jump off, anyone who's on the fence about like joining us and like letting us run their ads and showing them the system behind the scenes, I guess what would you tell that person who's kind of like hesitating?
Dude, do it. Do it. Again, nothing changes if nothing changes, right? You've been trying to grow your stuff a certain way. You hit a plateau, you hit the ceiling, you can't grow, you're trying to figure it out. This is your sign, bro. This is your sign to just do it. Do it.
Yep. Don't let the last 3 months be the same next 3 months over and over again.
Exactly.
Dude, once again, pleasure to have you on here. Pleasure to see you all, the success you've been able to achieve in the first, like, basically first 4 weeks of actually implementing this thing, and really
Mhm.
just excited to see what's next for you. I'm going to attach your Instagram down below for anyone who has any questions for you. And once again,
Yeah.
David, thank you for being here. And if you're a sports coach who's watching this video and you want to grow your private training business and you want our help, click that first link in the description below to book a call with our team to see how we can help you do the same. And David, once again, thank you for being here.